You've seen it before. That version of your life that plays in your mind's eye. The body you want. The bank account that doesn't stress you out. The relationships that actually feel good. And it's all right there, clear and vivid in your mind's eye. But then you snap back to reality. And you really try to build it. You set the goals, you make the plans, and you promise yourself, this time it'll be different. But somehow, again and again and again, you fall short. Why? Here's what most people won't tell you. The person you're trying to become is not some distant fantasy. It exists right there in the quantum field. But here's the problem. You're terrified of it, terrified of your own potential. And when that fear shows up, you sabotage yourself. Not consciously, but unconsciously, repeatedly, like clockwork. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So what's actually happening beneath the surface? Why are we so afraid of becoming who we're meant to be? Today, I'm going to show you the 4 signs you're terrified of who you could become, and more importantly, how to finally overcome them. Because once you understand this, everything will start to shift. Let's get into it. The first sign you're terrified of your potential is self-sabotage. And we need to understand what self-sabotage actually is, because most people get this so wrong. Most people think they're afraid of failure, but I can assure you that this is not the case. What you're actually afraid of is success, because success requires letting go of the version of yourself you already know. Your current identity feels safe, even if it hurts, even if it's limiting you. But growth means leaving this person behind, and you find that terrifying. Jung put it perfectly when he said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." But here's what makes this even deeper. Your body is actually hardwired to treat your evolution as a threat to survival. For thousands of years, leaving your tribe meant death. Your ancestors who stayed with the group survived. Those who ventured out alone didn't. That survival mechanism is still hardwired into your nervous system today. Here's the problem. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between leaving an actual tribe and leaving behind the known version of your life. And success equals change, and your nervous system sees change as danger, even when that change is exactly what you want. And this is why you sabotage yourself right before breakthrough. You're painfully close to something great, the promotion, the relationship, the business taking off, and then you pull back and procrastinate. Let me give you an example. You stay in that mediocre job, not because you can't leave, but because leaving means you'd have to become the version of you who's ready for more. That person is a stranger to you, and here's where your mind trips you up. It disguises fear as logic. You'll begin to have thoughts like, don't aim too high, be realistic, you're being irresponsible. But this isn't wisdom. They're old wounds trying to keep you safe. They're the voice of your past, not your potential. And if you catch yourself pulling back right when things are about to work out, that's sign number 1 of being scared of your potential. The second sign you're terrified of your own potential? Becoming successful doesn't feel natural to you, even wrong in some cases. And as a result, this creates a bizarre paradox. If all you've ever known is chaos, scarcity, and rejection, you can find yourself being scared of the new reality when this old reality is all you've ever known. You find yourself unconsciously creating and attracting chaos because at least that feels familiar. Think about it. You finally get the relationship you've always wanted, but instead of enjoying it, you're anxious. You're waiting for it to fall apart, so you pick fights. You push them away, and you find problems that aren't there. Or you finally start making money, but instead of celebrating, you feel guilty, like you don't deserve it. So you sabotage, you overspend, and you make bad decisions that bring you back to struggle. Why? Because success means confronting the shadow, that voice inside that whispers, "You're not worthy, not ready, not enough." And Jung even warned us, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. You can't accept the version of you who has it good, because that person doesn't match the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. So if you feel uncomfortable when things are going well, this is sign number 2. The third sign you're terrified of your potential? You're clinging to the story of who you've always been. Carl Jung perfectly said, "We don't really heal anything, we simply let it go." And here's how it applies to letting go of your old identity. Transformation isn't about fixing yourself, and it's not about processing every wound until you're ready. It's about letting go. Letting go of the old identity that's keeping you stuck. The version of you that plays small. The story you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. Because that's what keeps you sabotaging yourself, not your trauma or your past. It's your refusal to let go of who you've been. You're attached to the struggle, the excuses, and the reasons why you can't. You tell yourself stories like, "I'm not ready. I've been through too much. This is just who I am." But growth means you can no longer hide behind these stories. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The parts of you that feel too much, your power, your ambition, your desires, those aren't flaws. They're the very things you've been afraid to own. You keep them buried because owning them means becoming someone new. And becoming someone new means letting go of the person you've been. So, if you're holding on to your past as an excuse for why you can't step into your future, that's sign number 3. The fourth sign you're terrified of your potential? You dim your light so others feel safe. You worried what others might think, worried that your progress will upset the people around you. So you shrink, you play small, you downplay your success, you apologize for wanting more. It's probably already happened in your life. You get the promotion, but you don't celebrate it around certain people because you know they'll make it weird. You start taking care of yourself, but your family criticizes you for being selfish. You set boundaries, and suddenly, you're the bad guy. Here's what's really happening. Your transformation is holding up a mirror, and they don't like what they see. Family, friends, partners, they may not make the journey with you, and that's okay. You're not here to be liked. You're here to step into your full potential. Jung said it perfectly. "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Becoming your true self means risking disapproval. It means outgrowing your audience. And it means people will be uncomfortable with who you're becoming. But staying small to keep them comfortable is killing you. So if you're constantly shrinking yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones, that's sign number 4. So let's make this practical. Because transformation doesn't happen in theory, it only happens through small, aligned choices. So here are 3 things you can do right now in order to stop sabotaging yourself and start stepping into your power. Step 1. Act in alignment with your higher self. Do one thing today that your expanded self would do, even if you're scared. Here's the key. You don't become your higher self someday in the future. You become them now, through your choices and through your actions. The person who achieves all your goals already exists. They're not waiting for perfect conditions. They're making the decision right now. Stop waiting to become that person before you act like them. So ask yourself, what would my higher self do right now? Would they send that message? Would they start that project? Would they set that boundary? Whatever the answer is, do that. Because every time you choose as your higher self would choose, you close the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Step 2. Create inner safety. Your nervous system needs to know it can trust you. And trust is built through small promises. Keep your word to yourself. If you say you're going to do something, then make sure you do it. If you say you're going to work out, then work out. If you say you need rest, then make sure you rest. Stop breaking agreements with yourself and then wondering why you feel stuck. When you keep small promises, You teach your nervous system that change is safe, that you can trust yourself, and that growth won't destroy you. Step 3. Rewrite your story. Stop saying, "I'm not ready," and instead start saying, "I'm learning to become." That shift changes everything. Because when you say, "I'm not ready," this keeps you stuck. It's a door that stays closed. But "I'm learning to become," that's a door that's opening. It's movement. It's possibility. And here's the bonus. Each time you do this, each time you act in alignment, keep a promise, or rewrite your story, you rewire your nervous system. You're teaching your body that power isn't dangerous, that expansion doesn't equal death, because becoming who you are meant to be is actually the safest thing you can do. Let me tell you something that might change everything. That life you keep daydreaming about, it's not a fantasy, it's a memory. The pull you feel toward that version of yourself, that's your soul remembering who you were before fear took over. Jung called this the self, the fullest expression of who you're meant to become, and it's been waiting for you all along. Here's what you need to understand. This is about returning to what was always there, and your becoming, it doesn't just transform your life, it liberates everyone around you. It shows them what's possible. It gives them permission to step into their own power. So let me reframe something for you. You wouldn't fear your potential if it weren't real. Fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal that means you're on the edge of something that truly matters. So stop asking if you're ready. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop sabotaging yourself because becoming feels too big or too scary. Start becoming and watch life rise to meet you. The world doesn't need another person playing small. It needs you, fully expressed, unapologetically alive, and radiantly whole. So here's your next step. Don't let this be another video you watch and forget. Right now, and I mean right now, commit to one thing in the comments. One action, one choice, and one step toward your higher self. Then go do it before the day ends. Small actions create massive momentum, and the world doesn't need your potential, it needs your action.